one of the most basic, important aspects of succeeding in an online class would be time management. I would say really, and the main way I would do that would be blocking off time periods.
And you are taking responsibility for learning everything that has to be learned. You have to have your time management skills in check. You have to know when you need to have something done and how much time you need to get that one assignment done. And with that also comes knowing your instructor and how there is a variety in each online course. Every course I've taken, the instructors are different in how they structure things on Moodle.
Where did you learn that? When did you learn that?
Really, it was how I learned that process was a combination of different things. But one book that I read that really helped me with time management was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Talk about your calendar.
Well, my calendar, it stays pretty fluid, but then some things are definite, and that's what I tried to do with my online classes, was say that I'm definitely going to be working at this time on these days.
The beauty of online courses is that you can kind of set your own pace. As long as you meet the deadlines, of course, you can work ahead of schedule. A lot of instructors allow that. And I would encourage that if you, especially in a summer online course, if you anticipate like a family vacation or a certain time when you'll be away from the computer, that way you don't fall behind in your schoolwork, maybe make grades that are less than satisfactory. So I would definitely recommend working ahead whenever possible, because even if you're not going to be busy, it's never bad to be ahead of the curve.
Prepare to need to develop time management skills, prepare to set yourself goals, prepare to need to put it all in yourself, motivate yourself to want to get this done, because if you're not motivated, you won't do it, and then you just need to get it done and get it in on time, because if you fall behind, you will have points taken off for grades, and that is not okay. So you just need to get it in and get it done.
One thing I like to do is never underestimate the power of paper. So I like to keep a paper journal with me every day, keep up with what I need to do. That way, even if I'm away from the computer, I can just look and see, hey, I need to read pages 13 and 14 today, pick up the book and take care of it.
You mentioned summer classes. Talk a little more about summer classes and the difference in summer and fall or spring.
Summer classes are wonderful in that they're shorter, and it deceives people. I think that you would think you had half as much work to do because you have half as much time, but that's not the case. You have a full semester's work to do in 8 weeks' time, so you do have to put a lot more into it. But in theory, in summer, you would have a lot more opportunity to do that. So it is definitely an advantage if you want to get a class kind of out of the way quickly, or if you know you're going to have a lot of spare time and you want to be able to set aside time for yourself in the fall and spring semesters by getting summer classes in. So it can be a problem if you underestimate what you're going to have to do, but as long as you anticipate the extra hours every day, and summer classes are a great advantage to your degree.
What surprised you in your first online class?
In my first online class, I was surprised to learn that I could work ahead. I saw week 1, week 2, all these different assignments, and I was thinking, okay, so I'll have to do this every single week. And something came up, I asked my professor, hey, would you mind if I worked ahead? And he said, well, as long as it's posted, I don't mind if you work as far ahead as you'd like. I would set personal deadlines. Like if you do have a project and you're divided into pieces, and set yourself a deadline. Say, even if it really isn't due until the end of the semester, I would set a halfway mark and say, okay, I need to have this done by then. So even if you procrastinate all the way up to your deadline, you still have plenty of time to make the real deadline. So if you know that you procrastinate, then trick yourself. Well, I would say, start by using any resource you have. If you know a strong writer, maybe you could have them look over your work before you turn it in and say, this is what I'm trying to convey in my writing. Am I articulating it well? Because a lot of times what you think you're saying in your writing is not how it's coming off. So it helps to ask someone, even if it's your brother or your parents, whatever the case may be, just to ask someone else if you're conveying your own message the way that you want to, and answering the question that you need to answer. Then that could be of great help if that's all that you can do. But if you do have access to other resources, come into the Writing Center here at the community college, whatever is available to you, I would definitely use any of those resources I could.
How important is it to be willing to ask questions?
Well, in any course, seated or online, it's very important to ask questions because, if you don't understand something, it's not going to get any better. And especially in something like a math course or a science course where they keep building on each other, like if you don't understand the basic framework of something, as it gets more complicated, you're only going to get more confused. So it's important that you ask questions immediately if you have them. And even more so in an online course, because you're not going to be able to just walk up to your professor the next day and say, hey, I don't understand this. So it's important that you email them, call them, whatever you can do immediately if you have a question. That way you don't fall behind, because in an online course, if you don't get it this day, then the next day you have another assignment to do. So it's important that you get the answers you need so you can understand what's going on currently and what's going to develop in the future. That way you don't fall behind and start making grades that you definitely don't want to make.
What you're doing, what you're talking about, we haven't said that yet, but you're talking a lot about feedback.
Keeping in check on your grades is a very big thing to me. And keep a check on your average and set yourself the goal of I want to make an A in this class, or even if you want to make a B. Work at that and say, well, I need to keep my grades in this general area every time I do an assignment or a test. So I can say, well, this has been, I know what I've done on this test, so let's make this one better. Or keep it the same. And that feedback is very big. And even if they don't grade it, you can go and say, hey, how do you think I've done on that? I know you might not have graded it, but have you looked at that yet? And just say, I was just wondering some thoughts you might have that you can use for laters. Find something to go on.
Feedback helps. Basically, you can grow from that. It can be either negative or positive, and then the positive most of the time helps them is because you can look at something you're doing well and keep trying to make that better, while also looking at the negative feedback if there is any, and just try to do better. Find help where you can through friends, like in some cases the Writing Center, the teachers. You can make appointments with them through email and meet with them, and then they are usually very open about helping you once you reach out to them. You have to make that effort to reach out to them, and then they will make an effort to help you more.
When you say reach out, that means you have to put yourself out there.
Right.
So you don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Is that?
Yes, you don't need to be afraid to put yourself out there. You just need to be very open and prepared to know that this is a different learning experience and that you will be put in different situations than you are in a regular classroom. Because in a regular classroom, you're there every day, but this is an online class and you are doing this all yourself, basically, and you need to be prepared for that.
So several of you have spoken to that value of connection with the instructor. I've heard it consistently, making that connection with the instructor and how important that is to your learning. Did I say that well? All right.
Yeah, the connection is very important. You need to know that there's someone there who is willing to help you when you need it, but you also need to know that it will be all on you and that you have to go in and make yourself familiar with where they are on campus. You need to find their office in some cases and then contact them and meet with them if that is necessary to your success, because you need to do what you need to do to be able to be successful in your class.
You've taken 2 this summer.
That's correct.
Have you taken any summer online classes before now?
No, I have not, but instructors did warn me about the differences because you are more time pressed with this because you're fitting in one whole semester into 8 weeks. And so I have noticed already that there is more work each week, and it seems to be that you need to have organization ready, you need to be prepared to set yourself dates and that sort of thing to be able to be successful during the summer classes.
As we conclude, do you have anything that you want to boil your advice down to one paragraph or one statement?
I think planning and time management and keeping a check on Moodle in your email.
I would say the most important thing to know going into an online course would be that it is on you. You know, this is not a course where you walk in every day and your attendance is checked. You have to make yourself get up and log on to Moodle, Gmail, whatever the case may be, and do whatever assignment is posted, ask any questions that you need, whatever the case may be in that day, to ensure that you are successful in the course, because no one is going to make you do it. You know, this is college and it is online, so it's all on your shoulders to be successful in the course. So if you don't feel that self-motivated or whatever, you know, your case may be, then you should either work on that immediately or reconsider taking the online course, because dedication and self-motivation are at the heart of success in online classes.